He did everything right. He texted back immediately, he paid for the dinner, he listened to her problems for 3 hours without complaining. He suppressed his own opinions just to keep the peace. He was the perfect gentleman, and she looked him dead in the eye and said, "You're a great guy, but I just don't feel a spark." 2 weeks later, she's chasing a guy who takes hours to reply, challenges her, and prioritizes his mission over her feelings. You think she's broken? You think she likes being treated poorly? You're wrong. The nice guy isn't losing because he's too kind. He's losing because he's a liar. What I'm about to teach you will hurt your feelings, but it will save your life. It's time to kill the nice guy, so the real man can breathe. Here is exactly how to attract women without playing a single game. Let me tell you something about yourself that you've been avoiding. That nice thing you do, it's not kindness. It's a survival strategy you learned when you were 8 years old and realized that conflict was dangerous. You learned that if you smiled, agreed, and made yourself small, people wouldn't hurt you. Your father yelled, so you went quiet. Your mother was emotional, so you became the peacekeeper. You built a mask so convincing that you forgot your own face was underneath. But here's what you need to understand. Being nice is not a virtue when it's born from fear. You aren't doing the dishes because you love her. You're doing the dishes so she won't yell at you, or so she'll have sex with you later. That is a transaction, and she can smell the sales pitch from a mile away. You think you're being selfless? You're being manipulative. You're making deposits in a bank that doesn't exist, and then getting angry when there's no return on your investment. You listen to her for hours, not because you care about her words, but because you hope she'll care about yours. You suppress your disagreement not to preserve harmony, but to avoid rejection. This is what psychologists call a covert contract. You do something nice, she doesn't know there's a price tag attached, and when she doesn't pay what you think she owes, you resent her for breaking a deal she never agreed to. That's not love. That's a business transaction disguised as affection, and women can sense the difference at a primal level. Here's the truth that nobody wants to tell you. Women are biologically designed to detect weakness, not because they're cruel, but because their survival once depended on it. A man who cannot say no cannot protect her. If you can't stand up to her, you can't stand up for her against the world. When you agree with everything she says, when you fold every time there's conflict, when you ask, "What do you want to do?" for the 10th time in a week, you are forcing her into the masculine role, and she hates you for it. Not consciously. She'll tell her friends you're sweet and caring, but something in her body recoils. She feels like she's dating her little brother, like she has to mother you, like she's steering a ship through a storm while you're in the corner asking, "Are you mad at me?" You think being agreeable makes her feel safe. It does the opposite. It makes her feel alone. Because if you can't handle her emotions, how will you handle the world's violence? If you crumble when she's upset, how will you protect her when real danger arrives? She doesn't want a therapist. She doesn't want a servant. She wants a partner who can stand in the fire without burning. And right now, you're made of paper.
There's a concept from Jordan Peterson that will change how you see yourself. A rabbit is not virtuous because it doesn't eat you. It's just harmless. A lion that could eat you but chooses to sit by your side, that's virtue. That's conscious control of power. Women don't want harmless. They want dangerous men who have chosen to be peaceful. There's a massive difference. You're the rabbit. You're harmless not because you're disciplined, but because you're weak. You don't challenge her because you're scared she'll leave. You don't disagree because you're afraid of conflict. You don't set boundaries because you think you don't deserve to have any. And she can tell. Every cell in her body is screening for genetic fitness. Is this man capable? Is this man strong? Could this man defend me, our children, our home? And when she looks at you, apologizing for having an opinion, her biology screams, no. This is why she feels attraction toward the guy who disagrees with her, who walks away when she's being disrespectful, who doesn't text back for 6 hours because he was working on something that matters. It's not that he's mean, it's that he's capable. He's a lion who has chosen peace, not a rabbit performing strength. You need to develop your teeth, not to bite, but so that when you choose gentleness, it means something. Become dangerous, then become disciplined. That's the formula. Attraction requires tension. Tension requires polarity. If you agree with everything she says, you are a mirror, not a partner. And mirrors are boring. Think about electricity. You need a positive and a negative charge for energy to flow. If both wires are positive,
nothing happens. If you're always agreeable, always pleasant, always predictable, there's no spark, there's no charge, there's flatline. Women describe this as the ick. It's a visceral, gut-level repulsion that happens when a man displays desperation. And here's the brutal part. You can't fake your way out of it. She can sense it in the way you text too fast, the way you laugh at jokes that aren't funny, the way your eyes beg for approval. It signals low value, not because you're a bad person, but because true confidence doesn't need validation. A man who is certain of his worth doesn't scramble to prove it. He simply exists and lets the world adjust. When you chase her approval, you are communicating, I am worth less than you, and I know it. No amount of flowers, compliments, or nice gestures will override that signal, because it's not what you say, it's the energy you carry. Stop performing safety. Start embodying strength.
The irony of the so-called game is that it's not a game at all. It's about stopping the performance.
It's about being willing to lose her to keep yourself. Right now, you're shape-shifting. She says she likes country music, so you pretend to like country music. She mentions she's vegan, so you stop eating meat around her. She gets upset, so you apologize even though you don't know what you did wrong. You think this is how you keep her. It's actually how you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, she loses respect for you. The shift happens the moment you decide, I would rather be alone and authentic than partnered and pretending. This is not arrogance, it's self-respect, and it is the single most attractive quality a man can have. Because here's the secret, the moment you are willing to walk away is the moment you become the most attractive person in the room. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're finally being real. And real is rare. Women are exhausted by men who perform. They're surrounded by guys who shapeshift, who agree, who mold themselves into whatever they think she wants. And it's suffocating, because deep down, she doesn't want a fan. She wants a man. Someone who exists independent of her approval. When you take off the mask, when you stop auditioning for her affection, when you simply say, this is who I am, take it or leave it, that's when the dynamic shifts. Because now she's interacting with a person, not a performance.
Let me give you a concrete scenario. She says, I don't think you should hang out with your friends so much. The old you would have said, you're right, I'll cut back, and then quietly resented her for it. The new you says, I hear you, but my friendships matter to me. I'm not cutting them out. If that's a deal breaker for you, we can talk about it, but I'm not changing that. She might get upset. She might test you harder. She might say, wow, so you care about them more than me? And this is where most men crumble. But you stay calm. You hold eye contact. You don't apologize for having standards. You simply say, I care about you and I care about them. One doesn't cancel out the other. Watch what happens. Her body language shifts. The test is over. She leans in. Because subconsciously, you just proved something crucial. You cannot be controlled. And a man who cannot be controlled can be trusted. Because he's not performing for reward, he's acting from integrity. This is not about being harsh or cold. It's about being honest. Respectful disagreement is one of the most attractive things you can offer a woman, because it proves you have a spine. Time to get practical. Here are the immediate action steps you need to take to attract women naturally. Step 1. Eliminate covert contracts. From today forward, do things because you want to, or don't do them. Never do something expecting a return unless it is explicitly agreed upon. Don't buy her dinner expecting affection. Buy her dinner if you genuinely want to. Don't listen to her problems hoping she'll sleep with you. Listen because you care, or don't listen at all. This will feel terrifying at first because you'll realize how much of your behavior was transactional. But once you clean that out, what remains is authentic generosity, and that is magnetic. Step 2. Become uninsultable. Stop looking to her for validation. If she critiques you, listen. If it's true, fix it. If it's false, ignore it. Do not get emotional. An emotional reaction proves she controls your state. If she says, you're being selfish, and you immediately defend yourself with panic in your voice, you've lost. Instead, pause. Consider it. If she's right, own it. You're right, I didn't consider your schedule. My bad. If she's wrong, dismiss it calmly. I disagree. I've been very considerate. If you want to discuss specifics, I'm open. Your emotional stability is your power. The moment she realizes she can't shake you with words, she respects you. Step 3. Prioritize your mission. A woman should never be your number one priority. Your purpose is number one. She wants to join you on your mission, not be the mission. If your entire life revolves around her,
your schedule, your goals, your mood. You become a weight around her neck. She doesn't want that responsibility. She wants to be inspired by you, not responsible for you. Build something, create something, chase a goal that matters more than her approval. When she sees you prioritizing your mission, she doesn't feel neglected. She feels challenged to level up, and that creates attraction. Step 4. The gift of no. Practice saying no. No, I can't do that tonight. No, I don't like that behavior. No, that doesn't work for me. A yes means nothing if you cannot say no. Every time you agree out of fear, you devalue every genuine yes you've ever given her. You teach her that your word is elastic, that your boundaries are negotiable, that you can be worn down. Saying no is not cruel. It's clarifying. It tells her where you stand. And women crave clarity. The more you practice healthy boundaries, the more she trusts that when you say yes, you mean it.
Stop trying to be a nice guy. Nice guys finish last because they are waiting for permission to start. Be a good man instead. A good man has teeth. A good man has boundaries. A good man has a spine. He does not perform. He does not manipulate. He does not hide behind false politeness because he's afraid of rejection. She doesn't want a fan. She doesn't want a servant. She wants a man. Someone with depth, danger, and discipline. Someone who could walk away but chooses to stay. Someone who says what he means and means what he says. The game isn't about tricking women into liking you. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need tricks. It's about killing the performer so the real you can finally breathe. Stop playing games. Start being real. Subscribe if you're ready to do the work.